What is going on, everyone? Israel back again with another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Chicago White Sox. Now, this team has had an interesting last couple of seasons. I mean, it's been pretty sad to see, I'd say, but this team is just not good. I mean, I know everyone called this team a fail rebuild, but if you take a look at their last couple of seasons, I kind of have to agree. I mean, 2008, they got into the playoffs, and then they had a really dry streak until 2020. 2020 was the first time they were in the playoffs for a while. They get matched up against the A's. That game was really close. That was a really close series. They had a great season, I thought. Obviously, Jose Abreu won the MVP on that team, and, that was a really good series, I thought, in my opinion. I actually really liked watching that one because that's called my two favorite, teams, and obviously players I loved on those teams. They end up losing that one, and then the next year, 2021, they make the playoffs, winning their division. Unfortunately, they lose to the Astros 3-1, so that wasn't ideal. And then 2022, they go 81-81, so not a horrible season. I mean, you think that's a pretty good season. And then this past season, they lose over 101 games, so yeah, not optimal at all. And now we go into this 2024 season, and they're probably gonna get last place again. I mean, they just don't have the talent they used to have. They kind of offloaded a lot of guys, which is pretty unfortunate because this Chicago team was very fun to watch. I liked, this 2020 year and 2021 year they had, and even 2022 they had some good moments as well. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate where this team has gone the last couple seasons. So I want to take a look at these contracts on Chicago because it's pretty interesting overall because they have a couple guys that are on contract right now. So Andrew Benintendi is still on this team. He obviously signed in 2023 for multiple seasons. He's bounced around the league a lot. He's been pretty interesting. I think he was his best when he was on the Boston Red Sox, in my opinion. They still have Yohan Moncada for an extra season and then maybe the 2025 team option as well. Their best player, Luis Robert, who has an unfortunate, I think, career now with this team, and he's got team options for 26 and 27, which will probably be extended, unfortunately. So he's going to be here for at least 4 seasons, I think. And he's unfortunate because he signed this contract in 2020 and they were actually winning and they were good, and now he's stuck here for 4 more probably losing seasons, which is kind of sad to say. Eloy Jimenez is the next player, signed in 2019 with this option, which also kind of sucks for him, I think, as well. He's got the team option for 25 and 26, so probably going to get extended if you ask me. Max Stassi is the next one. I don't know if his option will get extended, but he's here for at least this season. Paul DeJong signed that 1-year contract, so he's going to be here for 24. And then Martin Maldonado's contract isn't in here yet, but he did sign a 1 year as well. And then we got pretty much everyone on this team is in that arbitration right now. So it's pretty interesting to see. They do have Nicky Lopez, who was on the Braves last season on the arbitration, which is pretty interesting. Obviously, Dylan Cease, which we've heard a lot about the trade talks with him. He's on that arbitration, still here for at least 2 more seasons. And this kind of sucks because a lot of these players, definitely had a lot of upside, like Michael Kopech when he was on this team. There was so much upside about him coming into the league for the first time. They have Brett Phillips on this team, which has always been a fun player to watch, I think, in my opinion. Michael Soroka, they always have him as a good player. Just looking at this team in general, it's kind of sad to see because they have I thought they had a lot of good players. Obviously when Jake Berger was here last year, Gavin Sheets is still a good player. Andrew Vaughn, I think, is a decent player. So it really just sucks to see, in my opinion. But yeah, pretty much everyone else is in this arbitration or pre-arbitration period. And looking at their financial situation, they spent about $91.7 million on this team. If you count all the arbitration fees and costs, about $130.6 million, which is definitely a lot to, still be losing, I think, in my opinion. But it is in Chicago. They have signed some good players and some good contracts. So, it's not that surprising for me. They are paying a lot of buyouts, though. The Liam Hendricks buyout, the Diekman one, the Clevenger, the Anderson one. So definitely paying a decent amount in buyouts, which is, not ideal, obviously. But to get rid of these players, that's what you kind of got to do. And that's, contracts kind of just get set up by the agents and stuff with the buyouts. But I want to look at their 2 guys they have in the top 100. They have 2 prospects right now in the 2024 top 100. And this, I think, is why they didn't sign Tim Anderson and why they put Paul DeJong on a 1-year deal, because Colton Montgomery is at the number 9 position on the top 100, currently in Double-A as we speak right now. He played 36 games there. He batted .244, so not horrible for him. Definitely had some decent moments in that Single-A season. Batted .345, and then rookie ball batted insane. So this kid is projected ETA this season, which is pretty interesting. I don't think he's going to get there just by the way he's playing, but we'll see what happens in spring training because I think he's definitely going to be there with the number 9 prospect. Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting time, and I think he's probably going to start the 2025 season at short 100% after Paul DeJong leaves. Montgomery's also drafted 2021 as their first round pick at 22. That's also why he's up here that high. And then Noah Schultz is 50 on the top 100, currently an A-ball left-handed pitcher. He was their 2022 first round draft pick at 26, so that's why he's also on this list. If we take a look at his stats, he played an A-ball, had a 1.33 ERA, so pretty solid in 27 innings. This kid's definitely deserving on this top 100. His ETA is 2026, so definitely gonna take a little bit to get up to the major leagues. But with some of the stats he's had, it's actually pretty decent, especially with 27 innings and 38 Ks. That's really impressive. So he should be an interesting talent as well for the Chicago White Sox. But I think for this squad to be good, they definitely need a couple more players on this top 100. So what can we expect from the Chicago White Sox this season? I think we're expect a lot. They definitely have good players on this team, don't get me wrong. Like, they did sign that Korean closer, which I don't think was on the Baseball Reference page, so so that, you know, those contracts will probably be a little bit higher. I imagine it's gonna be like, it's actually gonna be up to probably 150, 160, I imagine, with the just contracts they spent. Because Eric Fred is the guy from Korea, so it's gonna be interesting to see how he's gonna do in the majors for the first time in a little bit. Like we said in this rotation, Cease, Kopech, and Soroka should be good players, but we're gonna wait and see. Looking at the bullpen, I mean, Garrett Crochet, I think, is the one shining piece we have right here, who's gonna be a pretty solid pitcher in this bullpen. Because we gotta remember they did trade a couple of their, you know, their players from this bullpen in the trade deadline last season. If we look at this depth chart, I imagine Maldonado will start as the catcher. I imagine Andrew Vaughn will play first base, Nicky Lopez will play second, Yohan Moncada plays third, Paul DeJong should play short, probably Benintendi in left, Luis Robert in center, Gavin Sheets in right, and probably Eloy Menez at DH, or, you know, Andrew Benintendi as DH. It all just really depends how they want to run this roster and how they want to run this group of players. But yeah, so my prediction for the White Sox in 2024, obviously I do think they're in last place in the Central Division. I just don't have this team ranked highly, but hey, you never know what these guys can pull off. If they have a good season, they have a good run, you know. It's a long season, so we'll wait and see. My one hope for this White Sox team is maybe they have a better clubhouse than last season, because the stuff we heard about this squad last season with Tim Anderson and just the whole clubhouse mentality with the All-Star break, it was just crazy, the stuff we were hearing. So definitely gonna be a different team. I definitely know why they want to get rid of Tim Anderson after the whole fight last year and after the clubhouse situation. So this team should be in a better headspace, I think. And, you know, it's going to be an interesting season for these guys. I mean, I think there's a lot to prove for them and a lot to prove, especially if you want to get traded and get on a good team. Kind of like we saw with Jake Berger last year. He got traded to the Marlins, who ended up making the playoffs. So, you know, that's, you know, they made the playoffs. There you go. But going to be an interesting year for this, you know, Chicago squad as we move forward. Where do you guys have this team in your predictions? Because I don't know. I think they could be a wild card. I do see a side of this team where they actually improve and they can be a decent squad. But for me, I just can't put them, you know, up in that category yet. I have to see something from them first. But if you guys do enjoy this video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, everyone.